Greetings everyone, it's Seven from London and I'm coming back with another video. Hope everybody's well. Apologies actually, I haven't posted on this YouTube channel for a while. This particular channel, I have been active on social media, but I haven't been posting on my urgent UK news updates channel. My computer was hacked, my phone has been hacked. But I am active on social media on other platforms, and I'll put the links in the description so that you can follow me on those platforms as well. Today, I want to just give you an update on what's been going on. As many of you know, we have the emergency alert situation happening in the UK. It's scheduled to happen on the 23rd of April. However, there's another picture going on, as many of you who are awake and aware will know. All is not as appears. We have a situation whereby I and other people have been flagging up, seeing young men in their 20s opening the public street pavement manholes and putting devices inside. Now, the previous video, I think the last video I made, I did do an emergency sounding the alarm about the drilling that was going on. But since that, we have seen and caught many men in their 20s, usually British. Some of them have been Eastern European. And basically, these men have been putting devices into the public street manholes in London. Now, we've caught them in the East London area, but we are fully aware that they're also in other parts of London. So, excuse me, I think they're in, just about to lose my voice, they're in Northwest London, West London, North London, so Finsbury Park, Seven Sisters area. They're all over the place. And the situation is totally sinister, as you would imagine. Nothing is as it appears. And so I'm going to take this opportunity today to give you a heads up and show you what we have found in public street manholes. We've reported it to the police, we've reported it to the councils. Everybody's keeping their mouth quiet. They all know what is going on, but everybody's keeping very quiet about it. Now, we know that it's directly linked to this new emergency alert system. Basically, as many of you will know, they want to send an emergency alert to everybody's phone on the 23rd of April, whereby they will use it in emergency situations. Now, the question is, what is wrong with the news? What is wrong with the news? We know the news never tells us the truth anyway. Mainstream media are complicit in this whole scam situation that's going on. And so, if we are to rely on people who are unaccountable, not even elected, these are self-appointed people who have basically taken over positions of power. They're basically wanting to install things onto our phones without our consent and basically monopolize how you communicate on your phone from then onwards. This is the issue that everybody has to think about. The other issue is we know that something is being staged. It's no coincidence that not only have we found that there are men in their 20s putting deadly devices into the public street manholes in various boroughs of London, East London, Northwest London, West London. I'm sure at this point it's everywhere. We've spoken to shopkeepers, we've spoken to security guards, they've seen it happening. We've spoken to residents, and all over London, people have cited these young men opening the public street manholes and putting in these deadly devices. Nobody is responding when you contact the council, when you contact the police, they're not responding. It's a red flag, people. It's a serious red flag. And every single person needs to be aware of what is going on. And not only should you be aware, you need to take a proactive position at this point, because unless we deal with this situation head on, it's only going to get worse from here. They don't have anything good planned for us people. You know that by now. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. The reality is that there are nefarious individuals operating in the UK. And for the most part, we know what it is and who it is and what's really going on. They know nobody's going to go for this 15-minute city bullshit. It's slavery. It's a game whereby they're trying to maneuver billions of people into positions whereby you are trapped into slavery. They want to basically create Nazi Germany, create checkpoints, create a situation where nobody can use your car anymore. They've created low traffic neighborhoods. Now, the interesting thing about that, a very telling thing about that, is that they actually did a survey, or they asked all the residents in North London whether or not they wanted these low traffic neighborhoods. People said no. People said no. Got something on my lip. People said no, and they still did it. 98% of the people voted and said no, but they did it anyway. And the problem is that the reality of the situation is that you people are the boss. Between 2021 and 2022, the UK, and I'm sure it's going to be large numbers in every other country, racked up £915 billion from your taxes. They collected £915 billion from your taxes. That makes you the boss. You pay for the public services. You pay the people that are in public departments for services for health, hospitals, education, housing, safety, the whole nine works, transport. This is what you pay taxes for. However, what we've seen between last year and this year, we've seen a record amount of strikes from every public service that are not being paid. So how is it that the UK racked up £915 billion from taxes, the highest figure ever since the 1980s, yet there is no money to pay the people who are running these services? Not only that, the services that are being given to us are not what we're paying for. They want to bring in 15-minute cities, which nobody wants, nobody asked for, but they're forcing it upon us anyway. Now, the mechanism in which they usually bring these things in is via terror. It's done every single time. Anytime they want to bring in a law that they know the majority of the people are going to say no to. They use some strategy of terror. So it's no coincidence that all of a sudden we're seeing men, young men in their 20s, usually in groups of 4, majority of them are British, opening the public street manholes and putting deadly devices inside. You tell me, people, how is this happening? It's happening because, as the bosses, people have not taken these people to account. You haven't held these people to account. The public services that are supposed to be there to protect us, supposed to be there to ensure that the public's needs for the daily life, for everyday daily life, are met. However, when you call up some of these departments, you'll find that nobody will pick up the phone. You can't go there. You can't go there to meet anybody and see anybody because they don't come outside their offices. And when you do call them, they don't pick up the phone. So we have a situation now whereby deadly devices are being put into the public street manholes, and the people you pay as the bosses are not answering their phones. They're not doing anything about it. And so right now, this is the moment where we have to change course. This is where we have to boss up. We have to start being accountable for what is happening within all of these departments. It's not good enough to say that these people are not performing and they're not doing their jobs. We have to hold these people to account. So what we need to do is to start getting together in groups, families and friends, and basically going to these offices. Take your phone with you and go into these offices and say to them, what the hell is going on here? We do not want 15-minute cities. We told you we don't want low traffic neighborhoods. What the hell is going on? And basically, when they don't answer, what you need to be doing is to get these people out. They have to hand in their resignation. That's the nice side, because some of what's going on is outright criminal. These devices are criminal. To be putting these devices into public manholes is criminal. I'm going to show you them in a minute. But first, I just want you to understand that the public is the boss. You are the CEO. You are the top dog. You are the top man. Your money pays their wages. And if they don't want to do their job, one of you good people out there can take their position. This is what we have to start doing. We have to start selecting people within the community that are happy to take the job and replace the people that are currently in there, because the people currently in there are abusing positions of power. That's fact. Most of the public services, including the police, don't answer. And people, they know it. Everybody knows it. People say, oh, the police don't come anymore. We pay for the service of protection, safety, and when we call them up or we make a report, they don't answer. This is where we are. And it has to change, because where it's going is dangerous. Where this is heading is dangerous, and it's days away, people. Today is the 2nd of April. The emergency alert system is scheduled to happen on the 23rd of April. So we're days away. We're days away from them staging something, saying probably that it's Russia or someone else who has perpetrated an attack on the UK, which is what they want the emergency alert system for. It's basically so predictable, it's disgusting. It's disgusting that they feel confident that they can do this and feel that nobody has to account. This is where you good people, as the taxpayer, the bosses of everybody in those departments, have to start taking accountability and manning up and recognize it's cleanup time. It's cleanup time. This mess has to be dealt with, because if it's not dealt with on the 23rd, God knows what they're going to do. And it's pretty much predictable at this point. We've seen false flag after false flag after false flag after false flag. Nobody ever accounts for it. Nobody's ever arrested when masses of people die. We have a formula that is being utilized again and again and again and again and again. And you people have just allowed it to happen. This is where we have to change things. So let's look at some of these devices. Okay, this is a photograph of men. And there are many, excuse me, there are many, and I don't want to show all of them because it will make the video too long. But this is a group of men that I first caught round the corner. I saw them first from my window, so I came outside to see what was going on because I saw them opening the manhole round the corner from this place before they opened this manhole. And they turned up in a very dodgy van, and the whole thing was highly suspicious. They were kind of milling around, pretending, when they saw that I was watching them and other people were watching them, they started sort of walking slowly around, pretending to be doing one thing and then not doing the thing that they pretended to be doing. So I walked around the corner and I waited for a while. And then before I knew it, they opened this manhole and jumped inside. But what's more important, I want to show you what they put inside the manhole. Just bear with me. Hopefully you can see that okay. This is what they put into the public street manhole. When I saw this, my first impression of what it is what probably most of you are thinking, and everybody that has seen these are thinking. So I sent the photographs to a friend of mine that's a 5G weapons expert, and he was suspicious. He was suspicious. Everybody that's seen them said these should not be in a public manhole. Now, the interesting thing about it is that we checked the men out and they were not legitimate. They didn't have any proper identification or papers to be authorized to open the public street manholes and put these inside. So let me show you inside other manholes, because it starts to become clear when you look at the other devices that are being put into our public street pavement manholes in London. So bear with me, because I have to shut the program down and find the picture, and then it takes a little bit of time. So just bear with me. What you're looking at here is the devices have been put into the area where it's encased in the red. And you have right next to it the yellow greeny square box that's kind of highlighted is a gas access point. It's a street public gas access point. So basically we have devices that have been put into a manhole right next to a gas access point. Now, if that doesn't ring alarm bells to everybody, you're not paying attention. So let me show you some other images because it starts to get very, very clear at what we're looking at. This is the van that these people showed up in. Let me make it bigger so that you can see what I'm showing you. It has black sticky tape. Oops, that's another picture. And that's what I saw initially. These are the men that I saw initially from my window. That's another manhole that they opened up. And after they opened up the manhole, one of them jumped inside. He put something inside the manhole. Then they took a selfie of all of themselves, like we've done it. So let me see if I can find the picture that I was just looking at before of the van. Because when you look at the van that these guys showed up in, you know that this is not a legitimate situation. I mean, it doesn't take an idiot to realize that these are a bunch of crooks that have turned up. They've been paid some money by somebody unofficially to open the manholes and put deadly devices inside of them. Bear in mind, I'm filming this from my window. That's what you're looking at. So what I want to do is show you, let me just stop the recording for a minute, sorry. Okay. So these are the men that showed up just after 8 in the morning on the 16th of February. They came out of the back of this van and basically went to the closest manhole, opened it up, put something inside and did a selfie. And then basically, when I tried to get one of the men's attention, he covered his face and sped off in this van. And I'll show you a closer picture of the van so that you can see for yourself how blatantly dodgy this is. Now we see the same men go to the public street manhole, put something around to shield themselves, and one of them jumps inside, as I told you, and put something inside the manhole. And once he'd done it, they took a selfie of themselves. So I'm just going to tell you the sequence of events. There's a lot more photographs and there's also footage, but because of the fact that I want to keep the video short, I'm just going to narrate while I actually show you the photographs. Here we see the van parked up just quite near. There's a getaway driver sitting in the front of the car. That's the reference number if anybody cares to look that up. And so I want to show you a closer look at the van, in particular the handle, because the handle shows how dodgy this was. Now you tell me, a job that is as serious as the job that we're talking about here, would they turn up in a van that looks like this? Yes, that is gaffer tape. If you are not having red flags right now, you're not paying attention. So let me show you something else. When they realized that the first van had been filmed, as I told you, the guy held his hand up to his face so that he couldn't be photographed. They came back about 10, 20 minutes later in another vehicle, this one here. Which, oops. Wait a minute, I've lost the image. I don't know what's happened to it. Let me just go back. Okay, we have to go back again. I don't know what happened there, but just bear with me a second. I'm going to show you the vehicle again. This is the vehicle, second vehicle. So the one with the dodgy sticky tape was obviously too obvious. So now they come back in this vehicle and the men get out and they're loitering around the street aimlessly. They don't go to a specific site and do what they came to do. Because people are watching, they're kind of hanging around, walking slowly around the place. So I kind of disappear, go around, excuse me. I go around the corner. Let me drink some water for a second. Sorry about that. Frog in my throat. I've been talking so much, I'm losing my voice. So basically, I go around the corner and make it look like I've gone. Lo and behold, I give it about 5-10 minutes just to see what they would do. I come back round the corner and then that's when I see them inside the manhole. Another manhole, not the first one, a second manhole. And let you get that image again. So here they are, opening another manhole, or they'd already opened the manhole and had put the devices that I showed you, the deadly looking devices, by this time. So you've seen those images of those devices. I'll show them to you again. There you go. Now, even if you're not a weapons expert, I'm sure your first impression will tell you what those are. So fast forward. I'm going to fast forward so that you can see a whole sequence of events of what's taking place in London. Now we see another man just around the corner from the other set of men, and he is wiring up what I'm about to show you. Now, on this occasion, they had opened up the manholes on either side of the road. It was actually one of my sisters, Sister Cheryl, who actually saw this. She was on her way to visit me, and we were already alerted to the fact that something was going on. So this is not on the same day as the other men. Basically, all around the area, various different people had sighted these men opening the manholes. Now, when we approached these men, they had no ID, no papers of authorization to say who they were and what they were doing there. Not only that, as soon as they saw that we were taking pictures, they quickly tried to stop us and were covering up the manholes so that we couldn't film it, but it was too late because we had already filmed it. And one of the men in particular looked very, very, very nervous. He was very, very nervous. Sister Cheryl was talking to him and saying, do you realize that there are people living in this area? People who are mothers, daughters, children. And the man was shaking with nervousness. You tell me if what I'm about to show you was something that was supposed to be there, do you think, number one, that they would have no ID? Do you think, number two, that they would try to cover it up? And number three, that the man would be shaking? These are young men, all in their 20s. These are British. Some of the other guys in the previous picture was actually Eastern European. But these particular guys, this is just one of a team of about 4 guys. Well, actually, it was bigger because there was manholes opened on every side of the road. Okay, but as I said, I'm cutting to the chase so that you can actually get a first-hand view of what we have witnessed. Multitudes of people have witnessed at this point. So let me come out of this and I'm going to show you what he was wiring up. Okay, brace yourself for this one. This is what the man was wiring up. Now, you will notice that it's different from the other two, and each manhole is a different thing. So let's say hypothetically, if this was some sort of fiber optics, which it clearly isn't, would they not be uniform? Would there be a different one in every manhole? Now, I sent the photographs of this particular one and some other ones, in fact, all of them, to someone I know who is a weapons expert, a 5G weapons expert specifically. And he said, that is lethal. And he said, it shouldn't be in a manhole. Everybody who sees this is absolutely floored and flabbergasted that this is blatantly being done to the British people. Now, we've seen what they did to the people in Grenfell Tower. We've seen what happened in 7/7. and we've seen other atrocities happen. And what we're seeing here is a mega one in the making. And by the grace of God, we have been able to document it so that the world can see what is being plotted against innocent British people. It's a little bit blurry, so perhaps if I make it. This is not something that should be in the manhole. What you're looking at there is deadly by every stretch of the imagination. And it shows you the magnitude of what is a massive crime taking place here. And we've been to the councils, we've been to the police, everybody's quiet. Everybody knows exactly what's going on, and everybody's quiet. They don't want to answer their phones. We pay these people from our tax money. They've been paid in 2021 and 2022, 915 billion pounds. And these people don't want to answer the phone because they all know what's going on. It's called a conspiracy of silence, because what we're seeing there is absolutely horrific. It's absolutely barbaric that people will use positions of power and public's naivety and people having busy lives and not paying attention to put this together. So let me show you some other devices inside our street public manholes. Actually, let me show you this. Before I move on, let me show you this. When he saw that we had cameras and we were taking photographs, he quickly went to cover it up. Quickly went to cover it up. You can see that he quickly tried to cover this up so that we couldn't take photographs, but it was too late. We'd already taken photographs and footage. And he knew we were aware of what he'd put into the ground. If you people do not make a holy noise and scream from the rooftops about this situation, something is wrong with you. If you do not shut this evil down, something is wrong with you. I want to show you how he covered this up quickly, so that hoping that we hadn't taken photographs, but we already had. The fact of how he quickly went to cover it up. They literally, when he saw we came with cameras, the next move, he jumped up and he started trying to cover it up. And then when we asked him for ID, these people were shaking. They were shaking because they'd been caught. Here you see, he had covered up what we took pictures of, hoping he did this in record speed. And then they got the hell out of there. They made a sharp getaway. That in itself showed us that this was a deeply sinister, nefarious situation. Even the way there is a conspiracy of silence with people not wanting to answer the phone. If it was an innocent situation which was legitimate, that they'd put something into the ground that was legitimate. People would be happy to engage and talk to us as residents and members of the public. But right now, everybody is quiet. These guys fled the scene as quick as they could. And there was a woman there, actually, that was a counselor, and she said, there's no way on earth that if these men were legitimate, because she just happened to be walking past at the time, and she saw that we were questioning these guys and we were filming it. So she came to see what it was all about. And I don't know if she was off work or whatever the situation was, but she said, had it been legitimate, they would have had ID and they would have had paperwork to authorize them to open the public manholes. Because basically what these guys are saying is that anybody can just put on a high-vis jacket and open the public manholes. It's not the case. These people were recruited specifically so that there would be no paperwork and no paper trail, so that whatever is planned has been planned to go down. There will be no official paperwork to anybody to indict anybody specifically, but we already know who is behind such things. So let us move on. Please like the video and share it viral. Subscribe to the channel for urgent news updates. And I'm also going to put some links of where you can also follow me on other platforms. You can definitely follow me on Twitter at UK Urgent. It's Urgent UK News Updates as well. But if you do the @ sign and you just do UK Urgent, you'll be able to follow me on Twitter as well. Okay, so now have a look at this. This is another manhole round the corner from the two different manholes that I just showed you. Now, in this particular case, he changed the information because basically we contacted someone to find out what was going on. And the man who put these, the men that, the first set of men that I showed you who put this in there, they actually changed the date. They changed the date of when they did this. What do you think the reason is why they changed the date? So it wouldn't be tracked back to him. There's a reason for that, because the first set of men, one of them was Eastern European. And I asked him for some proof of what he was doing there. So I'm going to show you. He showed me his iPad, not the one that I just showed you previously. They didn't have any ID at all. And they covered up the manholes and then ran. Okay. This set is part of the first set that I showed you. So I'm going to show you the iPad of the actual guy. Bear in mind, majority of the men doing this were British, born and bred. This one guy was actually Eastern European. Okay, so this is a photograph of one of the guys. You can see it says the 16th of February 2023 at 8:53 a.m. and his name is Vasil Valentin. And he is supposedly the lead engineer, because I said, what gives you the right to open the manhole? And this is what he showed me. But check this out. Let me just... Hold on a minute. I have to stop it and start it again. Sorry. Okay, as I showed you, you can see his signature. And you can see it was Thursday, the 16th of February. Okay, at 8:52 a.m. Okay, so let's stop that now. And I'm going to show you the actual information we pulled up about him. I think it's this one, hopefully. Okay, there is his name, Vasil Valentin, and his date of birth is May 1992. And this is the name of his company. And for the company, he's only ever had one appointment. So let's look at this company of his. Let me make this really big so that everybody's clear of what's going on here. Okay, this is a company search to see who is this person putting things into the public street manholes. So I don't know if I can just go straight to the next picture or whether or not. I don't think I can. Oh, let me see if I can. Let me just see. If it doesn't work, then I will try another way. So let's get this. Oh no, I can't. It doesn't work. Sorry, you have to literally close it and open each document. You can't just flip through all of them. So just bear with me. Here you can see the dude's company dissolved. This is the address, and he's supposed to be the director. And this man's company dissolved ages ago. He's only ever had one appointment in 2020. So how is he the lead engineer opening the public street manholes? Bear in mind, the rest of the guys were all British. In fact, one guy that I spoke to said he was sick and tired of blowing things up and getting away with it. A young British guy said to me he was fed up of blowing things up and getting away with it. Can you imagine? This is what is going on in the UK, people, blatantly. Criminals that are in positions of power are recruiting these young guys to put deadly devices into our street public manholes. This is not a joke, people. This needs to go viral. Everywhere in the world needs to see this, because I'm going to show you the end game. I'm going to show you the plot. Evidence does not lie. This van was loitering around where I moved to. And as everybody knows, this is the company that has been targeting people, targeting me and many other people. This is the company that's stolen from me. This is the company that are behind 7/7. This is the company that I sued along with other corporations, 10 in total, and won a massive case against. They've never paid me, and they've continued to stalk me and terrorize me for the last 20 years. This van was loitering in the area. This is one of 2 photographs of the van. Okay? So you need to start seeing the picture here. This company needs to be shut down, people. This whole situation is diabolically abusive. This company needs to be shut down. The blood on these people's hands is outrageous that they're still operational. Okay, let me get some other images for you. Bear in mind, these are the very people in my case. These are the very people behind Grenfell, the very people behind 7/7. And now we see them loitering around while this situation is kicking off. If you're not furious right now, and you're not going to demand that these people be held to account, bear in mind, I sued the people in this company years ago, and they were supposed to go to prison 2 decades ago, but they've been protected and allowed to do this evil, allowed to continue doing this wickedness. Okay. Okay, so now let's connect some more dots. Now, many of you are aware of Operation Mockingbird, and any time there has been an atrocity, a terrorist attack, a false flag attack, when you look back, you will see publication after publication after publication depicting the very same event that's taken place. So the very same crimes, when you go pre the event and you look back, like let's give, for instance, with 7/7, there was loads of publication saying there's no escaping it this July. It's going to be on your TV set. You know, I mean, if you look at all the evidence, and you can see it in the Farrell report, if you go to www.thefarrellreport.net and you go to links 2 and 3, 2 being the actual report itself, if you go to where it says main report and then final report, you'll see lots of clear clues that show that this situation of 7/7 was going to happen. Confirmation, if you heard that. I don't know if you heard that. With Grenfell Tower, they had lots of evidence. Again, they had a movie and a book called High Rise, which showed you the exact duplicate situation of a tower in an inferno situation. Then they had the movie Dark Tower, all came out in sequence at the same time Grenfell Tower happened. What you're talking about is a diabolical game that is being played with our lives, people. A diabolical game that is going on. Dungeons and Dragons game that is going on. And actually the movie Dungeons and Dragons is out. I haven't seen it, but it'd be interesting to watch to see what it depicts. So I'm going to show you some diabolical stuff that show the same pattern as we've seen. We've seen it with 9/11, whereby you look back at all the movies and you'll see it depicting 9/11. 9/11, the event that took place that killed countless people. Okay, so we're going to look at this. Here we see a newspaper that was publicized at the same time all of this was happening. As you can see, it's called Hackney Citizen. And I want to show you when this was actually produced, just to show you the time frame, because obviously when you look at the guy's iPad, you saw it was clearly February the 16th. It has continued to date, but this particular psycho crime was in February the 16th in regards to these men. Although if you look back at this channel, you'll see that there's been previous situations that I've observed and witnessed in other areas that I've stayed in. So for absolute proof, here we see the date of the publication is February 2023. Just so that everybody's clear, because I do law. When you do law, you have to deal with evidence. I could speculate all day long, but let's deal with facts here. So hopefully you'll be able to see this. Let me make it bigger. What does it say? The sacrifice. So one side it said Hackney Citizen, the other side said the sacrifice. That implies the sacrifice of Hackney citizens, does it not? What part of this particular performance shows any form of sacrifice? Why is it there? Whilst this whole situation is kicking off. They didn't expect anybody to sound the alarm and catch them in the act. They didn't expect it. They thought they would get away with it just like they've done all the others. But we're bringing it here to you in plain sight so that you can see the level of evil that's going on in this country, the UK. There are some evil, wicked people in this country that need to be stopped. These people are sick and they're unhinged and they are abusing positions of power. This is a syndicate. This is a syndicate of people. It's not just a few people. As you can see, there is a media aspect to it because this is a publication. So let's have a look at some other publications so that you start to get an even bigger picture of what's going on. Now take a look at this. This is a poster. Immersive theatre on an epic scale. The Burnt City. This is classic Operation Mockingbird, September 2023, which hasn't come yet, has it, people? What we're seeing is something mega which is in the works. Mega, that is in the works. Now, when you see this and you start to understand the nexus between all of these different factions, so you've got media publications, you've got, this is some sort of, is it a movie or a production? This is a production, so it tells you that the media are involved in this demonic situation. Because all of the atrocities that we've seen from 7/7, all of them, 9/11, 7/7, Grenfell Tower, all of them have been depicted beforehand. In other words, clues are given beforehand, showing you that the massacre and the murder of innocent people for these particular people is a game. It's a game of high stakes. I'm sure money is involved in this situation because we know that 3 months before Grenfell Tower, they changed the insurance company to include human casualties. They sealed all the exits to make sure that there was human casualties. So the exits were sealed from the inside so that people couldn't get out. The water was turned off so that there would be casualties. There was no escape for these people. I want this to sink in, what I'm showing you, because the magnitude of it affects every single person alive. The magnitude of this evil, of what I'm showing you here, is beyond anything any of us can comprehend that is sane and rational. So I'm going to show you something else. Now, another point, if you understand about targeting and gang stalking, there's something called street theater. And this is what they call street theater because it's like a production that's taking place, but in reality. So when it says immersive, the word immersive is quite an interesting choice of words. Immersive theater on an epic scale. This is evil, people. This is beyond evil. The minds that have calculated to do this are monsters. And they are people who you are paying your taxes to right now. They are using your tax money. They're using my stolen money from all my famous TV shows, stealing intellectual property, trading it all around the world in order to do this. Ha, 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 ha. We're going to kill you. This is genocide. This is a plot of genocide in plain sight, people. These are the people that are in your councils right now. They're letting this happen. That's why when you ring the number, they don't pick it up because they know they've been rumbled. Okay, so let me show you some more. If you're not convinced, I want to show you some more. I want to flag this up again because this is very, very important. The first set of devices were put in here. That was the man, Vasil Valentin, okay? And as I showed you, this is a gas access point, but I want to show you that very close up so that there's no room for doubt, because with this particular image, it's not that clear. However, when I show it to you bigger, it will be very clear that these devices have been put next to a gas access point, street gas access point. So let me show you that. Okay, now you can see it big. Do you think that's a coincidence that they've put these things next to gas access point in the street? And then when you look at the poster, it says immersed. They use immersed. And if you look at the size of these things that they've put into the ground, it starts painting a very, very gruesome picture for the members of the public. So let me show you something else. Because I'm helping you to connect some dots. So now look at this. This is 3 weeks before they made the announcement to have an emergency alert system installed into everybody's phone on April the 23rd. 20 days time. Disaster response. Can you see that at the top? It says disaster response. Rapid emergency response. React to humanitarian response charity that provides direct assistance to the most vulnerable and hardest to reach in communities in the UK. This is 3 weeks, a little over 3 weeks ago now. 3 weeks before they made the announcement to have an emergency alert system installed onto your phones. This event took place exactly where they've put the deadly devices that I've just showed you. I'm going to repeat that. This disaster response event was held exactly where the deadly devices have been put into the ground in the Hackney area. Hoxton area to be specific. Do you think that is a coincidence? Now they're telling you that they want you to receive an emergency alert for a life-threatening situations. Life-threatening situations that they are engineering themselves. How about that? They want you to have or receive on your phone an emergency alert for a life-threatening situation that they are plotting and engineering themselves. Let it sink in. Let the magnitude of what I'm showing you sink in. Please re-upload this video. This has to go viral. We need 7 billion people to see this all around the world. We need millions of people to see this. We need you to share this viral everywhere and to literally storm your council buildings and remove every single head of the departments that are in there. Every single head of the departments that are in there have to be immediately removed. They need to be sacked. Not give them the option to resign. They need to be sacked and jailed. And jailed. We've contacted Hackney Council repeatedly, and they've not got back to us because they're aware, they're all involved. Look at the newspaper that said Hackney Citizen. Do you think that these type of things happen without people knowing what's going on? They don't, people. Look what happened with Grenfell. Kensington and Chelsea Council was all up in that mess, if you remember rightly. This is Grenfell Tower times 1,000 from what I can see. And if you understand what burnt city means, it means that they intend to burn the whole city down. The whole city. Because they know that you will never accept being in slavery, which is what the 15-minute cities are. Let me show you something else, actually. And then I think after that, I think that will be the last thing that I'll show you. Oh, there is something else I need to show you before I do sign off. There's probably, I'll find a few, but this is connected to what I just showed you. This was like inside the event that I went inside and I took photographs of it. So you can see it's inside where they held disaster response. And you can see this was an event that took place. It says direct humanitarian action in the fastest time for those hardest to reach and most vulnerable. This is all being pre-arranged. So the devices have gone into the ground and they're predicting that it's going to be a disaster. And they've already set up to have their disaster response. Let that sink in while I look for some other things to show you. This is on the other side of the road where they covered up the deadly device that we were filming. This gas pipe has been cut and left exposed. Don't know if you can see it clearly. Just cut and left exposed. This is where your 915 billion pounds and all the money stolen from me, billions of pounds stolen from me and many other people. This is what it's paying for. This is what's funding this. This is what you're working for. You're working for your own mass murder. You're working for your own terror. That's what you're working for. This is a man at night outside or very close to Sister Cheryl's house, who is also being stalked and terrorized and has been. It will be 10 years this year that she has lived under it. It will be 20 years for me. This man, as you can see, he's pulling up the pavement to put in the deadly device by night. This is what your money is funding, people. This is what your money is funding. When I say your money, I mean your taxes. This is a friend of mine's next building, the building next to a friend of mine. All their gas pipes are cut in the entire building. All their gas pipes are cut in the whole building. That's just one of, let me show you another picture. Throughout the entire building, the gas pipes have been cut. This is all at the same time. Do you think it's connected? Absolutely. I believe so. So there is another image as well. I don't know if I'll find it here, but it's quite significant because it shows you clearly what this is all about. So let me just stop this for a minute. So have a look at this. A friend of mine was on the bus, also in East London, and he saw a fire engine where fire was coming out of the pavements. Now, interestingly, if you look at these people's faces, they look kind of happy. This was what appears to be a drill. This situation here appears to have been a drill whereby it was like a dress rehearsal of this evil. So they got the fire engine, the fire's coming out of the pavement. This woman looks kind of happy. She doesn't look like she's dealing with a distressed situation at all. So let me show you another image. Again, this is other people. He looks quite jolly as well, considering there's an emergency, so-called emergency situation. Fire is coming out of the pavements. And this is maybe, it's either late February or the early part of March 2023. So it's all in sequence with all this stuff. It'd be interesting to see what was on this poster because they always put what they're doing in plain sight. So basically, this road was closed off and fire was coming out of the pavements. But I find it quite interesting that these people are kind of smiling, which tells me that we're dealing with a game. We're dealing with a game where our lives are being treated like a game. And interestingly enough, I never forget this, when I went to the police station and I said that my family had died, and particularly when my cousin Ronnie was murdered, I saw police officers laughing. They were sniggering. Two of my relatives died inside Grenfell Tower, and they were laughing. That always stuck with me. It always stuck with me. It was so disturbing to me to see that I was clearly in a state of distress, and they were laughing. Something's wrong, people. Something's wrong. Very, very, very wrong. I want to show you something, one more thing, and then I'm going to sign off this video, and I'm going to ask you to get this viral. It has to go viral. You have to send this to at least 100 people or groups where there are thousands of people. People have to know what is being done right now. Okay, so I'm going to show you one other thing. Is it here? Is it here? Is it here? Actually, I have to find it again. Sorry. I just have to go into the images and find it again. Okay. This is your new prison. This is the 15-minute city that is being built in East London. We're working with London boroughs of Islington and Hackney to transform the area to create a better environment for those walking and cycling. So basically, they're creating places to walk where there are already places to walk. It's not about creating places to walk or cycle because we already have that. As you know, the 15-minute cities is about removing vehicles, and that is to give themselves an advantage. So they'll be driving, they'll be in helicopters. Apparently, it's going to be something like 90,000 helicopters, something crazy like that. Drones that will monitor you whilst you're in your 15-minute city that you can't walk beyond. You can walk 15 minutes from your front door, not a second more. If you violate, you'll be all digitally tagged in your digital ID so they can turn off your ability to buy food. They will fine you. It will get worse. It will end up being beatings at some stage. This is the beginning of the horror show that they have for everybody. They will punish you in ways, torture you in ways, torture your children. You won't be able to buy food for your children. This is being built. This was actually, I took a picture of this while I was on the bus. This is actually being built as we speak. It's all over London. And obviously they know that you're not going to accept being put into prison. You're not going to accept that you spent your life working and paying taxes, not realizing that you were giving your taxes to psychopaths, not realizing you were giving your taxes to Satanists, not realizing you were giving your taxes to terrorists that have co-opted positions of power. They've taken over all our positions of power. We have unelected people building this for you. You didn't ask for this. You're paying taxes to make sure that you can use the hospitals, so that there are schools, so that the welfare state, when people can't afford to work, so that the trains, the buses, the London transport are manned, housing, adequate housing, that there are services for people that are, been abused, domestic violence. Are you aware that 1 million women marched against violence in March, at the beginning of March? I think it was the 4th of March, something like that. Ask yourself why 1 million people, 1 million women have to march against violence in the UK. Ask yourself that question. Would 1 million women have to march, or it's called 1 Million Women Rise? Would 1,000,000 women have to rise against violence if there were no violence? Something's going on that you haven't been paying attention to, wider world. Something deeply, deeply, deeply criminal, deeply nefarious, deeply sinister, deeply, how can I say even? This is a crime against humanity that is a hanging offense. This is treason beyond treason. I want to show you one last image. There's a couple more because there was one image of the road being closed down by the media, claiming, in just where the bombs are, claiming that they want to film. They want to film a movie. So basically, just like Grenfell, this is intended to be a snuff movie. That is confirmation. This is intended to be a snuff movie that will usher in the 15-minute cities, because the 15-minute cities are scheduled to take place in 2024. Okay, we're already at the 4th month of the year. And so in order to usher it in, they always use terrorism because they know that people will not buy this. So what they want to do is kill off the majority of people, and the rest of the people will be put into these prisons where they themselves should be. So the last thing I wanted to show you was, just bear with me a minute. I just have to stop it, find the picture. I was going to show you evidence of the roads being closed by people in the film industry. Surprise, surprise, because that's who's running this. It is people that are staging this, that are in the entertainment industry, that are staging all of it. So it comes as no surprise that on 2 occasions now, entire streets in the Hackney area have been closed off by so-called film companies in order to make their snuff movies. So I want to show you this. This is a man outside my window filming. He stood there for ages. And I just want you to see the kind of sinister goings on. He just stood there. And I looked and I said, oh my God, there's a man just standing there. I just want you to see it. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing now. Come to the end of the video. And I'm appealing to everybody, the international community as well, all the different BRICS nations, to let them know that we are being terrorized in the UK, literally. They are trying to murder us and usher the rest of us into permanent slavery. So I'm appealing to everybody in the international community, because this affects everybody. I'm losing my voice because it's really late. This is against the Geneva Convention of Human Rights. This is against the International Criminal Code. This is a crime against humanity on levels, perpetrated by the same people that have committed genocide already in the UK, with Grenfell Tower, 7/7, in France, Charlie Hebdo, no doubt in other countries, and potentially, possibly even 9/11. This is a crime syndicate that Tony Farrell wrote a crime report about. It's called the Farrell Report, FARRL. report.net. That report contains damning information, detailed information that shows exactly what took place with 7/7 behind the scenes. Just like this is damning information about what's happening right now. And the very people who are responsible behind this crime syndicate. A law firm called Russell's, media law firm called Russell's, Christopher Gossage and Tony English. He changed his name to David English. These two men are white-collar criminals that have engaged for 2 decades, as far as I know, maybe previously before, in crimes against humanity and false flag terrorism, falsely blaming people for their own atrocities. Alongside Helen Alexander, who has staged her own death. She created 2 false identities when she was linked to Grenfell Tower. And when we exposed that she had 2 false identities, one of them was inside the intelligence agencies, the other one was for Scottish TV. Because of the fact that the case that I won, called 7 versus Gossage and 9 others, implicated all of them. They were found guilty and they would have gone to prison. They have engaged in crime after crime. They steal intellectual property in order to fund their organized crime ring operation, which involves trafficking, electronic trafficking, targeting of individuals, torture of individuals, racketeering, theft, fraud, extortion, blackmail, infiltration of every form of public institution, and the judiciary, law enforcement. Other people involved in this crime syndicate is Jeffrey Beinman from a law firm called Beinman and Partners and Tamsin Allen. These law firms put themselves forward after they killed the people inside Grenfell Tower. So you have a situation whereby the very people who staged it, because each of the components, each of the different people and organization take a different role. The lawyers cover things up, the media part of it film the production and organize the killings, the terror, the acts of terror, because in order to make action movies, they have access to explosives. They have access to weapons. It's the film industry. They make films, they have guns, they have all these sort of things. I think, what's the guy's name recently that killed somebody on a film set? But they have weapons, they have, and so there's a relationship between law enforcement and them, because when they actually film movies, they have officers on site in these movies. Anyone that comes from the entertainment industry that makes action movies will understand. They blow things up all the time in their disaster movies, in their epic action movies. It's normal for them. But in this instance, what they're doing is they're staging it and setting it up so that it will look like it was a real event, but actually they set it up, and then they have the media side that runs the press side. So they'll spin out the lies, the story that whatever they want to paint it as, Putin did it. This is what I believe is being set up at the moment. They're making it look like Putin or Russia, they're staging this whole fiasco with Putin fighting, saying, you know, they have a war that has got nothing to do with the 7 billion people. a war that has got nothing to do with any of us, none of us. We don't know these people, but they've taken it to our streets. They've taken their weaponry and planting them inside our pavements. And in order to stage a mammoth false flag, and then possibly, I mean, the implications of this, the magnitude we can't even fathom, but it's huge. This is not just in the UK, it's international. In fact, I flagged up that there is an exhibition. It finishes on the 16th of March. It's in a museum, and it is about London, how London punishes the public, how the UK abuses people and has done for 700 years. Everything we're seeing happening, they have done for 700 years. They're admitting it themselves. They have another exhibition, which is called Twist, as in Twisted, where they show you that the UK is the home of deception, illusions. So they paint the illusion, whole subterfuge, smoke and mirrors to make it look like it was war, and because of war, this is why this happened, when actually the whole thing's planned out exactly as I'm showing it to you. These people must be arrested. They must be jailed. These are crimes of magnitude that affect every single person living, not just in the UK, but all over the world. A crime of this magnitude because people have relatives in other countries, family members in other countries, who they plan to kill here. We don't have a lot of time. They're planning to install their emergency alert system on the 23rd of April. It is the 20th, it's the 3rd of April. So we have 20 days to completely shut this situation down. And in order to do it, I'm going to need everybody's help. Not just sharing this video, but reporting on the situation. We have a report which Tony Farrell did many years ago about this same crime syndicate, the very same one. That crime report has damning evidence that will shut this down overnight if you people report on it. If you people flag that report up, tag this video, tag my TikTok videos, tag the evidence which I've been tweeting for God knows how long. I sued 10 corrupt corporations involved in this evil to the core crime ring and won. It was supernatural that I won. And because of it, they've been trying to murder me. They've murdered my cousin. They poisoned him. They killed 2 of our relatives in Grenfell Tower. This is why I'm making this video. My voice is gone, it's hoarse. There's a van outside my place right now. In fact, I'm going to give you the reference number of it so that there is a public record that that van is outside where I'm staying. The reference number is RX66 ODP, and it's a van. It's been stationed there. It says Millbrook Healthcare. They have this vans which are dummy vans, just like they do their props from movies. They're movie props, and they use them to surveillance people because plain white vans, which they also use, is too obvious. And that has been stationed outside where I am. So I'm going to repeat the reference number, RX66 ODP. I will post it so that you can see it as well. We are at a time where it's time to face the music. And that is the people of the world that is watching this, that it will affect. If you think that they do not plan to kill you, you're not paying attention. They plan to kill you and your family and enslave the rest of you. That's what they plan to do. And it's up to you to do the sensible thing and put these psychopaths into jails where they belong. Remove them. There's 7 billion people. There's no excuse to allow this to continue. You are the taxpayer. You pay for the public services. You pay the wages of every single person in there. Amongst the 7 billion people, there is enough people to replace every single department in public office right now. Every single department needs to be weeded out with new CEOs and new members of staff, because every single council, housing association is complicit in this madness. It's gone as far as it can go, people. We are a dot away from them pulling off the biggest massacre in history. If you think Sharona was bad, you have seen nothing for what they have planned. I've shown you just a bit of it, but there's so much more evidence, people. This is planned genocide by people who have been committing planned genocide for 2 decades, as far as I know. They were supposed to go to prison because I won a massive case. This is not difficult to do. It's all it requires is exposure of these people, and it's over. All it requires is that this situation goes viral and it's over and they know it. It's not going to be hard. As daunting and as horrible as it sounds, your alternative is allowing them to do this, to pull this off. Our ancestors in my community, and I know that I appeal to people from all over the world, but in this instance, I'm talking to the melanated community. Our ancestors have been enslaved, and the Irish people have been enslaved as well. I recognize that. Our ancestors have already been here. If you think that they won't do it again, they've never done anything else. You tell me when they did something good for people. Show me one instance in history that these people have ever not done this. They did it in 1666. When the people woke up, they killed all the people in the same way they're trying to and planning to kill all of us now. So it's time to put your big boy, big girl trousers on and boss up and shut this evil down. Okay? We've had enough. We've had enough of the Helen Alexanders, the Tamsin Allens, the Richard Hanna, he's another one, the Jeffrey Beinman, the Christopher Gossage, Tony English, all the people in the TV networks that are part of this insanity. We've had enough of them. They have been killing people and getting away with it. And because it's a big syndicate where the police are protecting them, it has been allowed to go on as long as it's gone on. But this is where we shut it down. This is where we, who are the people with the power to stop this, shuts it down once and for all. They must recognize that this isn't funny. It's wrong to abuse people in this way. Their law firms need to be shut down. completely. Bindman and Partners needs to be shut down. Russell's needs to be shut down. All the law firms that are involved need to be shut down. Charles Russell, Goodman Derrick, BBC are involved. All the BBC bosses need to be removed. ITV bosses are involved. Scottish TV. There are people in America, CNN, ABC. It's a massive crime syndicate. There are people within law enforcement that are involved. They all need to be removed. If you don't stop them, they will kill you, basically. It's like cancer will kill you so that it can exist. It's the same thing. These people are a cancer that are trying to kill everybody, wipe everybody out so that they can be in positions of power with all the wealth and rule over everybody else. It's insanity. There's a movie called Quo Vadis for anybody that's a movie lover. And it's basically, it's a biblical story, Quo Vadis, Quo-Vadis, I think. I know it's Vadis, but Quo Vadis. It's a biblical story about the Emperor Nero, who was a psychopath, who burnt the people alive and blamed it on the Christians. It's the same setup. He was an absolute raving psychopath, and that's what we're dealing with, absolute raving psychopaths on this occasion. So everybody, let's show them what love can do, what community can do. This is a new era. You know, gone are the days of the Piscean age, which was about all that is hidden. Piscean age is ruled by Neptune, so it's all to do with concealment. That's why the age of the cover-up could exist. We've now transitioned into the age of Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus. It's the planet of innovation, liberation, freedom, revolution. We're in a completely different age, people. It's the equivalent, I say this, it's the equivalent of when it's winter, you wouldn't go out in your bathing suit or your bikini or your shorts. You have to adapt to the time. In the same way, when it's sunny, you wouldn't wear your hat, your scarf, your thick coat and boots. You wear your t-shirts and cool clothes, you know, sandals. It's a different season. This is a different season. This is the season of community. This is the season when we as a people come together to support one another, to big each other up, to help each other along. It's not the season whereby you look how much you can exploit somebody. You look at ways of how you can manipulate and kill. The age of the narcissist is gone. The age of the psychopath. It's a new age. It's a new age based on principles of consideration, harmony, looking out for each other, protecting each other. That's the season that we're in. That's the age that we're in. It's the age of ascension, being in 5D consciousness, not the age of, you know, Wall Street bankers scamming people. That age is finished and they're aware of it. This is why everything is crumbling. It's not conducive to continue anymore. And they know that the majority of the people are ascending. And so their idea is to kill everybody and enslave the rest. And if you do not man up, they will do it. We're 20 days away from them installing an emergency alert system where you will no longer be able to communicate on social media like you once did. It will prohibit you. That's what it's designed for. It's so that they can control your every move. It will interface with all the other technologies, the digital IDs, the drones that are going to control you. That is what they are planning to do. And we have to expose it and put it in the light so that even they realize how absurd even attempting to do this was. So let's show them what love looks like. Let's show them what 5D consciousness looks like. Being an ascended individual. Let's show them the spirit of caring, consideration, not manipulation, murder, genocide. That paradigm is over. Let's show them that it's over by bringing this situation into the spotlight. Peace, love, and divinity to everybody. Thank you for listening and to sharing and reporting and vlogging about this and taking the evidence yourself and sharing it and letting the world know what has happened and what is happening and showing them, just like Iceland. Iceland got together and they removed every one of the criminals. I think it was 2010 that they did that. Look to what Iceland done and let's adopt that philosophy that we've had enough. We see you clearly, crooks, corruption, criminals, murderers, thieves, absolute scumbags. They don't need to be scumbags. We can show them the better way to be. It can't be good for them carrying this kind of evil, but they are. And so we have to take the high road, just like Iceland, and remove every last one of them in order to shut this down. We can do it. Iceland could do it. We can do it. So let's get it done. I will put my information in the description area. You can follow me on Twitter at UK Urgent. You can follow me on Rumble, Urgent UK News Updates. And I'm also on other platforms like TikTok, etc. And Lance Scurv. I'm on Lance Scurv's channel, SCURV, Lance LANCE. I'm on his platform from time to time as well. I'm open. If anybody wants to interview me, just send me a comment and I will respond to it. And I look forward to seeing this in the spotlight so that we shut this evil down. Okay? You have to understand that my life is in danger to even do this. You have to understand the magnitude of what it took for me to get this evidence, to give it to you. You know, these are bombs that they've put under the ground. And as a woman, I've gone in there and taken photographs of these things. I've gone to the actual things and taken photographs. So please respect how much time and energy I've put in to give you this information to save everybody. Don't take that lightly. It took a lot for me to do. Okay? Peace, love, divinity.